Hello and welcome to the Blackout Podcast, where I get to talk to amazing people who do amazing things. And today I have a friend, a brother, creative, and a boxer, actually. Joseph, thanks for coming to the show today.
Thank you.
So, I remember first time when I met you, I reached out because I needed someone that had a video background. And I want to start with that because to me, the boxing one just came out of the blue. So I will start with the video one. How did you get into making videos?
I would say it really started from out of necessity.
Necessity?
Yeah.
In what way?
So when I first came to Canada, I used to live in Vancouver. I was doing school.
Wait. You lived in expensive Vancouver.
I know. At the time, the situation was made sense. The numbers were making sense.
Oh, okay.
And the moment they stopped making sense, we had to go back and think what could be more efficient. And then, I moved down to this place. And just the experience in the short while that I was in Vancouver, I realized that I kind of wanted to come here to do something. I didn't want to have to work like I was working in Vancouver. I kind of wanted to do something, go to school and have something that brings me joy, bring me a little bit of a meaning and not just going to work and going to school. Because I found it more painful when I did it in Vancouver,
Oh, okay.
So when I moved down to this place, I think for about 6 months, I just didn't want to work. I didn't even want to like the city to even, it was that funny, right? But, the city grew on me and, I had to think about something that I wanted to do. I started off with photography, bought my first camera, did a couple of gigs and later down the line, I just felt like I just needed to become more valuable. And I tried videography. I just love the concept of storytelling. And when I watch movies, I just love the cinematography and, all of those, little details and stuff. So I don't know, I just started exploring until you reached out. Even at the time, it wasn't even that and again, it's like, I knew it's like, you were looking for someone to grow and, develop and stuff like that. And I knew that at the time, that's kind of what I wanted. But at the same time too, it was like a necessity thing where it's like, I'm trying to hustle in the street, make money here and there and stuff. So yeah.
Well, okay, so actually, let's even go a little bit further, moving, why did you decide to migrate to Canada, and how was that process for you?
I came here for, would I say greener pastures? That's that's the common reason why most people come out here. For me, the best medium for that was through education. And when I was done with high school back home, my parents thought that as the first son as well too, come out here, and hopefully make way for others as well. So in terms of the process, it was quite, honestly, it was smooth. I would say I was blessed. It wasn't anything chaotic. Like from the beginning to the end, took about 4 months.
Oh wow!
In planning, it's like literally we thought about it in August. Conversation started in December. I was in Canada.
Holy smokes! Wow, that is
so
crazy. From Nigeria?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
I know.
So I'm Nigerian and my experience is not 4 months.
No, it's not. Like again, it's like my dad, the kind of job he does, he's very, very detailed and he thinks way ahead. So it's something he's had in front of his mind since probably when I was in high school, but he was just waiting for the right moment.
Right. Well, okay, now that makes sense. Because it's not like, oh my God, let's just get out of here. Okay, and then Vancouver, what are some of the differences you noticed between living in Vancouver versus living in Halifax?
I would say one is it's the diversity is different. Like in Vancouver, it's a lot more would I say communal, like in terms of like out here it's like you see people everywhere, different kind of places. I think maybe because of the school population as well too. But in Vancouver, it's like, there's a place where they're known for specific ethnicities.
Oh, so if you go here, you see the Asians here. Oh, okay.
And it makes sense because it's a very big, BC is a very big province, but I just find it's a lot more like that, and there's a lot more. Obviously, there's a lot more things that one can do. It's very hard for you to wake up and just be like, I don't want to do anything. That being said too, when you're around that kind of environment, it's then harder to do things too, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
But just speaking from this perspective, having lived here for this long, I would say that's the major difference. Like for me, just the fact that now I'm thinking about the days I spent in Vancouver. I'm like, man, I could do this, da, and stuff. So, yeah.
Okay, so you came here like, okay, I'll study. What did you study?
I first of all started with engineering.
Which one?
Mechanical.
Okay.
Mechanical. That was the goal. Because when I was in Vancouver, I did the diploma. I did a science diploma, and I wanted to transfer to UBC. But the tuition was so high. And the economy wasn't necessarily facilitating that kind of goal. So I obviously had to look for other options that wouldn't just throw away the amount of time and the investment I already put in. And fortunately enough, my college had this partnership with Dow. It was like a university transfer program. So literally same thing too. In December, I thought about it. In January, I was here. It was like that. Like, thinking about it now, it's like, man, like, I could be quite spontaneous.
Right. Yo, man, just deciding to move like from one end of Canada to the other end. Side, literally. Holy smokes. Wow.
Yeah, think about it, like it's, I enjoyed it. I came out here. I did, again, I didn't really want to like this place, so I just wanted to test it. So I didn't want to commit into doing a full, full course program. So I just took 3 courses, and they were still science engineering based. And then after that, I applied in the summer. I applied into the Faculty of Engineering, and then I got accepted, and then I started there. And then after my 2 years, which is the diploma, right? I just felt like I wanted to do something a lot more, hands-on business, commerce related, finance. And then I applied to St. Mary's University, to transfer to St. Mary's University to study global business.
Wow. So you're taking care of the engineering side and the business side. Okay. I see what you're doing.
I'm just. The way I think about it, I'm just going through it. Like it isn't expensive, right? But I find it's a lot more valuable. That's why it's even a lot more valuable. Because right now it's like, I know that, in the perfect world, like I would want to be able to incorporate all of this knowledge and, bring forth something out of it. So,
but let's talk about you saying, I just want to test the waters out. What made you decide to stay? What did you end up loving about Halifax?
I would say, I think it was mostly when I started doing photography. When I commercialized it, I would say, it was different from things that I'd ever done. Like I had done little businesses here and there, but it was never, like one-on-one in terms of like, okay, you have to develop yourself, learn this, and all of that. So the first 6 months that I was here, I wasn't outside. I didn't make no friends. I just didn't want anything that would keep me attached in this place, right? I just wanted to, fulfill my parents' obligations of like, let's check this place out and then go back, right? But in that 6 months, I picked up a camera, did a couple of gigs, and I just loved the experience. And, I just thought like, man, like, this place is not that bad. And it's a lot more forgiving too.
I mean, compared to freaking Vancouver, right? So, man. Yeah.
So I felt like, if I go to Vancouver and I was to start this, I don't think, I'll be overwhelmed. I might not be as motivated, or even, it's a lot more saturated, out there.
So now let's talk about, the photography. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but compared to videography, there's like a huge learning curve there. What are some of the things you did to do that transition from camera photography to videography?
I think mostly was I didn't want to see it as so much of a difference. You know, I think so when I was doing my research, I had heard a filmmaker say something like, "Oh, the difference between photos and video is just, you know, one is continuous motion, right? Basically, but it's just all single frames of photos. So when I thought about it that way, I was like, okay, I feel like I can transfer, you know, like for example, composition, you know, like understanding lighting, you know, a little bit of audio, like all those things, like you know, I can at least get away with something and not come off across as an amateur. Like when I'm in an amateur, like I just picked up a camera and I just started doing videos, right? Like at least I'll get certain things, you know, right? So yeah, I approached it from a photography standpoint until obviously I realized that I needed to, you know, like, you know, it's a different beast in its own.
I mean,
you know, so
I mean,
yeah.
But you know, when you drill it down, though, it's just like photos being put together, but still, you know, how you did a photo versus how you did a video, it's a whole nother ball game. So did you with the gigs you did, you had to pretty much one man show, it's all you, or did you ever work with teams?
Yes, I did. Again, that's one of the things that I leveraged, because it's like, having done photography, I also realized that, you know, like you cannot do everything by yourself, especially when, again, it's like necessity. It's like I wanted to I wanted to be in a position where I can start to get value almost immediately, so to speak. So I knew that in order to do that, like I wouldn't, for example, audio, if I had a gig, like I wouldn't sit down all night trying to figure out audio. If I know someone who can just come and run that and give me a professional work and make me look good, you know, so to speak, you know, to my clients as well too, right? So yeah, I think that's I enjoyed the storytelling aspect of it. I feel like that's what if I enjoyed the editing, you know, let me put it like that, just incorporating the creativity that comes to just, you know, matching shots and doing all this, the storytelling and all of those things. Like I enjoy it when it comes to videography, or, you know, taking videos. But other than that, like, it's pretty much, I view both of them.
So most of the gigs were like events and stuff, or
yeah.
Are you ever gonna make like a film?
I really hope to do so. Like in my heart, like that's documentary. That's what I would love to, you know, like.
Why documentary?
Because I feel like that's the best, you know, place where you could make a lot more impact in terms of like when it comes to storytelling. You know, like, and it could come in different forms. Like when I say documentary, like not necessarily like basically just being able to tell a story in a documentary style way. If I don't know how to explain it in the layman language.
Talking about documentary though, like are there some documentaries that you watch and love?
Yes. Say for example, okay, say on Netflix, there's this documentary that I feel like that would be my kind of, you know, when I saw it, I was like, this could be the next style to documentary that I would really enjoy to, you know, be a part of. Is it Anna? Is it becoming Anna?
Oh, the lady that was like stealing people.
Scamming, yes, exactly. That documentary. Like, it's funny, the first time I watched it, you know, I wasn't so much present on social media. Like I just bumped into it on Netflix. So I had watched it before I even heard the storyline, saw how it was trending online. But when I saw, I didn't even get all the storyline. All I was just so immersed was with the way they, you know, like just the documentary style. They made it so real that even if you saw this a couple weeks later, I saw her in a different movie, and it just felt so real and authentic at the same time. And you knew that, you know, certain things were added. You know, they made it obvious.
Obvious. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like you're getting the real message at the same time too. You're getting the creative, you know, the documentary filmmaking style. You know,
I gotta say, I love documentaries on Netflix, and one of the ones, I don't know if you've seen it, it's called Pepsi Where's My Jet?
No.
It's freaking brilliant, right? So what happened is, years ago, Pepsi had like, you know, if you drink, you have points, and with the points, you can win T-shirts, you know, glasses. But if you had maybe 5 million or 50 million points or whatever, they'll give you a jet. And this boy found a way to get the points, and then Pepsi don't want to pay, did not want to give him his jet. So this is what the documentary is about. I've not finished it yet, but like, oh my god, like,
wow,
god damn. Like, first off, how he even figured it out was that, you know, I mean, you know, they had like their fine print and stuff. So he went to read it, and he found out that you can actually buy the points, right? Because if you're just drinking Pepsi, you wouldn't have it. But if you bought something, you can actually buy the points. So he has this guy that has money, and the guy's like, sure, I'll give you the money to go and buy. So he got all the points. He sent it to Pepsi. Pepsi is like, yeah, no, sorry, you can't get the jet. He's like, what? I want my jet.
Nah, it's smart and stupid at the same time.
Right? What the fuck are you gonna do with a jet?
Right?
But I think so he calculated that the jet is like 32 million, but the money they need to spend to buy the points, it's like 500,000. So that's like a freaking good investment or something. Anyway, I love that documentary. Yeah, like,
no, I'll check it out.
Like, yeah, I love watching documentaries. So anyway, so you started making all these events and stuff. When did you say, okay, this is something I see myself doing for a while, and just, you know, not just to, I guess, keep myself busy?
I think I'm still trying to figure that out. You know, I would still say, I'm still trying to learn. You know, it's like every time I decide to project, I'm finding ways to be a lot more efficient. You know, with, you know, like production or even post-production. You know, all of those things. I feel like until maybe when I get to that point, then I'll know, okay, this is what I want to do. I know for sure that the ambitious side of me, it's like, you know, I want to be able to produce a documentary. You know, I feel like I know what I have what it takes, you know, in terms of like my own personal contribution. You know, I know that in order to do that too, I need to collaborate with, you know, a lot of people. So I'm still trying to figure out, like, right now I'm enjoying post-production. You know, I want to know, is it just post-production that I just want to do? Or is it like, do I want to be out in the fields, like getting these footages and, you know, writing story and writing scripts and all of those things? It's like you said, right now it's a one-man show. So until I'm able to, you know, kind of figure out, you know, what it is that, you know, I'll be a lot more efficient and, you know, be happy doing.
Talking about that, music videos, how did that happen? Because you made it, anyway, let's start with, how did you get into music videos?
I think it's the same thing too. The first project that I ever did was with my trainer, Omar. He was trying to teach like boxing videos, right? So we thought, okay, why don't we film videos? And he was I basically used him to develop, to learn.
He's your guinea pig.
Exactly, right? It was exactly my lab rat. He was so excited. And he got a lot of workout in too, because every time, you know, we're both perfectionists. And, you know, after that, you know, by the time we're done, and Tosan too, Arenya, he was my he's a brother to me, right? So it's like, when I told him about it, he's like, okay, let's, you know, work on a project. You know, sometimes it's like, if you have someone who can just believe in you, it doesn't even matter. It's like, bro, I just started filming a video. All right, I have this project. Let's do it.
It's a good thing you mentioned him, because that's the video I wanted to bring up. The video I love, and I'm gonna just go on a rant about the video, is the one on the basketball court.
Yes, the Busset.
What was the story there? How did you get that happen? How did you get the people together? All that stuff. Walk me through it.
Yeah, I think first of all, it was the reason why that is something that I said earlier. It's like, when you work with good people, it's like they make you look good. You know, they make everything look good. That was the first project that I had experimented with, you know, just collaborating with as many people as who wanted to be a part of, you know, the project. And I just wanted to do one part, kind of like just oversee it and then just post-production. But every other thing, I wanted everyone to come together and do it. The second part was the chemistry that I have between myself and Tosan. You know, prior to this, we've worked on so many other projects outside of photography, so we kind of like understood each other, right? So when he came to me with the concept, he played the song, or we listened to the song, and he told me the kind of vibe that he wanted. And the reason why I said we have good chemistry is like he trusts my creative direction, So he just told me it's like, this is the theme, so to speak. Make of it whatever you deem fit, And I was like, okay. And I saw it as an opportunity for myself to experiment on so many concepts that I'd just been, just doing the theory side of things, just learning. So I hit up. I knew part of the things that I wanted. I wanted someone who was going to get me the kind of footages that I wanted to work with, And at the time, I was working with Gen X Production. His name is Joel. And I worked with my T in the field. He knows how to get really good shots. I told him, I was like, oh, bro, I'm working on this project. Like, I'd love for you to come be a part of it, right? And he came through, did an amazing job. Same thing, too. It's like we have a good working relationship that in as much as I had the shots that I wanted, the moment he just said, okay, bro, what do you want? This. He would give me more than what I wanted, right? Same thing too with the dancers, praise. I told her, okay, this is what she came up with the whole, dance routine for the song. Hit up one of our friends too. They came through. Tosin invited his friends over, so it was more so like community. It was just fun. It didn't feel like work.
It was a fun video.
Exactly.
God damn.
So
I loved it. I think I love that it was in a basketball court was it in the North End?
Yeah, it was Mulgrave Park.
I was like, I know that place. I kind of, and then, how long did it take to shoot, and what was the shoot day like for you guys?
So I think it was 2 days. We could have done it all in one day, but we all had the clashing schedule, and I think on one of the days the weather wasn't favorable.
Halifax,
right? So we just had to reschedule, but it took us 2 days, and the 2 days by 2 days, technically I would say one. The other day was just myself and Tosin, just little shots that we wanted to get specific B-rolls of the place, but the shoot itself took a whole day. And it was a whole quick. It wasn't. I don't know. It was easy.
No, it looked great too.
That's the way I would put it. Like,
it looked great.
It was good.
And then the post-production for that project, how was it?
Yeah, I think that's where the pain was. I think that's where at some point, like I got to a point and I was just like, because the video had 2 parts, right? Like it was like a feature with Raz Lags, so it's like I had to also give a different storyline for his own background, because he had his own different energy as well too. And he's my very good friend, so we had an understanding as well too. So if I'm being honest, it's like outside I really had to push. Like if when I mean push, like to really, just make it, cohesive, just to bring everything together. To really make sense.
Because, man, working with artists like musicians, man, they can be difficult, man. They are either late or like, I want to do this, but like, can we just do this? And then we've already agreed on making it white. They'll show up with black.
That's true.
We say we want to do white. Why are you showing up with black now? Oh my God. And
That's exactly it.
So, like, I can see why the post-production, but the project came out. Love it. I've seen that video a couple of times.
Thank you.
And then I'm just chilling on Instagram one day, and actually it wasn't on your own page, it was on a different person's page, and I'm like, I know this person, and because it tagged you, and then I'm seeing your page and I'm like, okay, what the boxing? Like boxing? Where did the hell boxing thing come from?
I know. It started from if you remember when I said like I was filming content.
Yeah, your lab rat.
My lab rat, exactly. It's like he was my he's my trainer.
So you decided to go. I mean, when most people want to think fitness, it's like, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'll do the treadmill, or weights or whatever. Why did you think of going on boxing routes?
I didn't actually start off with boxing. Like when I came out here, it's like in Nigeria, first of all, I just had we just played rough, like the way we played back home, right? It's like from high school, we didn't really understand working out or sports science like the way the West, kind of understood it. It's like we just played rough and just, it was just what it was.
Yeah.
So when I came in here and I walked into a gym and, all of that, I saw that translate, and I saw how, good and how it felt like I had been doing it for a while. The transition or the growth was really quick. So I was lifting weights most of the time at the gym because still I was very skinny. So I was very skinny and, so I was lifting weights at the gym. I was quite progressive with that and I loved the way it made me feel. But I just felt like I wanted to try other things too. I knew at the gym too, it's like naturally I'd love to do things that were a lot more cardio based, like a lot more things that I would use my body weight, like all of those kind of things. But when I came out here and I saw weights, I was just fascinated with pushing it. And I pushed it to as far as I could. I started having injuries and started having some discomfort and stuff. And during COVID happened, we stopped hitting the gym, right?
Yeah.
I was still keeping shape as best as I could. And during that time, everyone was by themselves or with their loved ones and everything. And myself and Omar, we happened to hang out a lot. Like literally, we were just like brothers, right? So we're hanging out every single time. So we're like, we might as well make the best of this, right? So it's like, just show up every day. I told him, he himself, he's quite a specialist. Like he played sport, he's had injuries, and he's one person who I felt like I knew at a point where I was at the time, like the way my body felt, like he had felt it.
Oh, right. Yep.
And I knew, and I kind of know where he's at right now. And it's like, I've been with him on the side, but it's still fascinating how he's able to, move and control his body, and all this pain disappears and stuff. So, he's legit, right? So I showed up every single time, and we started, and throughout COVID, we worked out like animals, like literally every single day. Like I'm not even joking. It's like
how long would you walk? What would be the duration of each workout?
So I don't know what we're on. I think it's COVID had its effect, on people's psyche, right? So it's like 5 a.m. in the morning. I don't know what it was.
Holy shit!
That's why I had to put that. It's like I have no idea. I think it was just because everybody had time, right? So it's like 5 a.m. It's like you don't even want to be at home. Plus I live by myself, so it's like you're at home all day. So it's like 5 a.m. I'd wake up in the morning. I'd run down to his place. He used to live on College Street. I'll go down to that place and, would come down to, there's this fountain, little park opposite the South Park. And, would get some work there. I'd say would spend in the morning, would probably clock in like anything between an hour and a half and 2 hours, And then after that, immediately would go for paddleboarding. Like we'll walk from here to Chocolate Lake.
Holy shit!
That was a typical routine, and after that, we'll probably go to the beach.
That is whoa!
Like it was more just compounded. Like, and then after that, we'll come home, we'll probably eat, and then the next thing, we're sitting at home watching maybe a fight or something. And next thing you know what, we'll pull out the chairs, get some workout in. And then like that before you know it, we get another 3 hours of workout.
Holy shit.
We'll go home, repeat the next day.
God
Some
damn.
days we just stretch, we do a lot of things. So during that period, like I saw...
Is he Omar like a personal trainer or?
He is.
Okay.
He is he coaches boxing.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Like that's what he does. He uses that like to kind of like emphasize the fitness side, but he uses boxing techniques and
right.
workouts and stuff.
Okay, so you guys are doing this crazy, literally, working out 5 in the morning and stuff. But like, at what point did it become like a thing? Because it's one thing just working out with a friend versus what you are doing on your Instagram now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think he just showed me. Personally, for me, I knew what I wanted, and I think that's what the difference was.
What did you want?
I wanted. Aside from my body feeling, I wanted something that I can maintain and not have to put a lot of damages on my body. Yeah, it's funny. That's very counterintuitive thinking that boxing is it's a combat sport, but
I'm listening to you like, oh yeah, they are hitting me, but yeah, it's good for your body.
But it's the training, really, the training side of it. But so I think it was when I started to see that it started to translate to other sides of my life. Not to be dramatic and everything. It's like when people get introduced to martial art or like any type of physical combat sport, it's like it's one sport that it's different from every sport, because it's like other sport you can play, but it's like you can play the sport, but it's like at a certain level it's different. It's like it's through its authenticity, it's real. It's like you cannot fake it. At some point, it's like at the end of the day, if you're together with someone in real life, you can talk and all of that, but when you're locked in a cage, it's like whatever you have, that's all you got, right? So when I started to see how the discipline side of it, started to build character, it started to just give me a different perspective of the world, be a lot more critical, get me very confident in myself too, right? And just the fact that, and it kind of complemented myself in terms of growing up is like you've been this kind of person, but it's like when you find certain things that sort of like align with your person, it's like if there's certain sports you do, it's like for people who are aggressive, they do certain sport and they find joy in it. For example, it's like boxing too, it's like there wasn't so much of a conflict, because I've tried so many sports. It's like people would say that I'm athletic and this and that, but I've tried so many sports, but personally for me, it's like I get to the point and it's not aligning with me, you know what I mean?
Why did boxing stick?
I think it's, aside from the fact that it touched my life, say for example, soccer, right? Soccer, we've all been playing soccer, right? But just the fact that it is soccer and it's team sports.
Yeah.
So for example, right? Now I can be a team player, but when it comes to at a high competitive level, where I do believe that it has to be fair. Like when I mean fair, like it's, if you're going to be put in a team, it has to be people of equal standards and quality, so that everybody's relying on each other, 100% confidence. But in individual sports where it's like
it's all
you can only trust yourself,
it's all you.
So I think that's one part of it. Boxing, why boxing stuck, because soccer, like I said, it's like it gets to the point I don't think I would show up every day, right? Actually, I would enjoy it. Like I played soccer all through. I still enjoy it. I still play it every now and then, but it's just different. Where it's like I know how far I'll be willing to go for soccer, and I know how far I've gone, and I'm willing to go for boxing.
So boxing, you're training with Oma and stuff, and like you're getting serious. COVID is over. You're back in school. Like, why did you keep it going? Apart from the discipline part and apart the changes, like, are you going to compete or because you like, I don't know what other people say, but at least from what I've seen, it's like, you can get in the ring or something. Because all these YouTube people, they are just making all this money, and none of them, like, I don't know their training, but I've seen some of your videos. I'm wondering, what's the plan?
It's the same thing too with, it's like my education, for instance, right? I see all of this coming together as one piece. In as well, that's a very, very vague answer. But to be specific about that, it's like right now, I found a way. I know that being in school, and having something out of school, that I'm given not I wouldn't say equal amount of energy, but it's like I'm reasonably invested in both, right? And I'm at a point, or I'm getting to a point where, I feel like competing wouldn't be bad. I would say both of them complement each other in terms of like, I enjoy going to school because after going to school, I can go to the gym and train, right? And knowing that I would sleep well, feeling good the next morning to go to school, and stay motivated.
Okay, so here's the thing though. I know we're talking about boxing, but I've seen videos where you also incorporate kicks.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, is boxing the focus? Is there going to be kickboxing? Is there like an MMA thing there?
Yeah, definitely not MMA for now. I don't know. There's just something. I prefer watching the sport, But for my kind of person, I feel kickboxing is what I would enjoy a lot more. I started off with boxing. Kickboxing or kicking was just my own personal curiosity. Like I just loved the way people could, the dexterity of the legs, the way people are able to just use the legs and do, like just amazing things. And I just personally for me, my legs are very tight. Like, it's like when I'm in tight, it's like at the time, it's like my hips, the injuries that I had, like they just stiffen everything
from
up.
the squats and shit.
Exactly, right? So when I started doing some kickboxing training, and then I realized I thought that it was even going to be the opposite. It was even going to further damage my body. But if anything, like I started to feel good. I started to feel loose, more flexible, and I had more speed. So many things just started to make sense. And from there, I picked it up. And yeah, in terms of competing, if I was going to compete, I'd rather compete as a kickboxer than as a boxer. Reason being because, boxing is a lot more, it's just boxing in itself. It's just hands. So it takes a lot more, it takes a high level of preparation, a high level of time and investment into the sport. Whereas kickboxing, where it's like you have a lot more variables. It's like
you can use your leg and do stuff.
Right?
So going back to the video that started my whole boxing story, it was you training someone. Is that something you're doing? And is that something I can come and apply for? And
yeah, I don't coach, and the reason why I say I don't coach is because I'll just prefer to fight. Like in terms of I can. For example, my friends, I would love them to be able to protect themselves. But in terms of like a full-blown coaching, unless I'm doing it for need, like say for money at the time, how people will be like coaching, brings me meaning and stuff like that. Teaching is like that. But right now, what I use coaching as, I use it as a way to reinforce, my basics, pretty much. And that's what my trainer Omar, he told me, he's like you can teach at least basics, because the more you teach, the more you reinforce what you already know.
Right.
He told me that, and when he told me that, I was like, okay, like if anybody wants to work out, just let me know. It takes nothing. Like it's not like you're not gonna turn into a fighter in, like in 1-2 sessions, right? Like it's usually a compounded thing, but yeah, like I don't mind, like, and the more I teach the basics, I realize like I never forget it, and that's the reason why I feel like I'm a lot more confident, because I know that my foundation every single time, I'm reinforcing it.
So if I were to come to you, I'm like, hey, Joseph, this is cool, train me. What do we do?
We just pick a day we're available, just show up. I think it's really just showing up. Like it's not like so many people, there's not so much preparation. It's like there's sometimes when I tell friends, okay, let's work out, and they're like, okay, but I don't have a glove, I don't have hand wraps, I don't have a gym shoes, I don't have the proper this. I'm not like, there's a lot more, to those things. Sometimes it's just showing up.
Talk to me, like the rapping thing. What is the story there? Because, so in my head, I'm saying, if you are like boxing on the bag or a person, I can get it. But if you are just doing shadow boxing, why do you still need to wrap your wrist though?
I would say it simulates the concept of kind of like clenching your fist. And this is very, very subjective. Like people might have different reasons, but for me, if I was wearing the hand wraps while I was shadow boxing, is it kind of like, for some people they tell them to hold a tennis ball or put something in their hands that just reminds you that, because when you're shadow boxing without your hands or without your hands clenched, if that becomes your habit,
then you're always gonna
exactly. So you're always gonna throw punches with your hands open.
Right.
So sometimes some people wear I believe if I was to wear hand wraps like while shadow boxing, like it would be just, I know that okay, something is in my hands. And when I wear the hand wraps, or where people want to wear hand wraps, it's like naturally you're in that mode. It's like I've seen people shadow box with the full, boxing
Yeah,
gear.
it's like we're putting on the uniform and stuff, going to war and stuff.
Pretty much just visualizing and stuff. So
wow. Okay, Joseph. It's great talking to you. I always thought we were going to talk about video. Here we are talking about boxing. But before I let you go, I mean, you have this combination of like engineering and business and all that stuff and all these responsibilities. How do you like put it all together and balance it with your time?
I would say that I'm still trying to figure that out. I would say that's where I'm at right now. Just finding a way to, because I mean, you can have all of these things, but like true discipline is being able to, align your priorities and know exactly what matters. So right now, I still see myself, and this is what my trainer says, Omar, he says like, he sees himself as a citizen of the earth. It's like, I see myself as right now I'm just absorbing, just to equip myself with enough tools to make, decisions when that time come right now. But, right now I know I have the conviction that all of this is gonna come together to one piece.
Wow. Thank you so much for coming to the Blackout today.
Appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.